Imagine you are caught in this, absolute torrential downpour in the middle of a really busy city.
Oh yeah, the absolute worst timing.
Right. The wind is just howling. You are sprinting for the nearest awning and your entire life. So your phone, your wallet, your house keys, maybe a tablet with all your work on it.
All the important stuff.
Exactly. And it's all hanging by a single thread on your shoulder. In that exact moment of sheer panic, what is your bag actually worth to you?
Well, I mean, that is the precise moment when a fashion accessory completely stops being about fashion.
Yeah, the whole aesthetic just kind of melts away.
It really does. It becomes a matter of sheer survival, honestly, and trust.
And that is exactly where we are going today. So welcome to the deep dive. We have a highly unusual source to explore with you all today.
Very unusual. We are definitely not analyzing, a Vogue editorial or some glossy magazine spread.
No, not at all. We are actually looking at an excerpted transcript of a YouTube video jingle.
Which sounds crazy, I know.
It does. It's by a creator named J.M. Canonigo, and it's this promotional piece for Tatag Lang beaded bags.
And it is just a deeply fascinating piece of media. I mean, when you actually sit down and read the transcript of this jingle, it defies every single expectation you'd have for a normal product advertisement.
Yeah, it really doesn't read like your standard bulleted list of features.
Not even close. It reads more like an epic poem, honestly.
Yeah.
We are going to analyze this text to understand how it uses incredibly evocative, rhythmic language to transform a very simple utilitarian object.
Right, just a bag woven from wooden beads.
Exactly. But it transforms it into this profound symbol of endurance and really the human journey.
Okay, let's unpack this, because honestly, at first glance, I saw the topic and thought, well, it's a catchy song for a beaded purse. How deep can we really go?
Right, a totally fair initial reaction.
But the more I dug into the transcript you shared with me, the more I realized there's some, intense psychological heavy lifting happening in these lyrics.
Oh, there really is. And to understand the mechanics of how it actually works on the listener, we have to approach the text almost like a piece of modern poetry.
Just really break down the language.
Yeah, we need to explore how these specific words are woven together to create a very specific, resonant brand identity. It builds a feeling, step by step. Or I guess in this case, bead by bead.
Bead by bead, I like that. But, before we get to any of the sweeping metaphors about life journeys and surviving the elements, the lyrics hit you right in the physical senses.
They absolutely do.
They focus really heavily on the crisp click of the beads, the firm strand, the sturdy seam. It feels incredibly grounded in the physical world.
Well, and it has to be, right? If the brand fails to convince you that the bag is physically reliable first, then nothing else they promise later on will even matter.
Right, you won't buy into the metaphor if the bag itself seems cheap.
Exactly. This is all about establishing a sensory baseline of trust. By highlighting auditory cues like the crisp click, the jingle is actually leveraging this really cool concept in psychoacoustics.
Oh, psychoacoustics.
Yeah. Basically, hard consonant sounds, the phonetic plosives, so like the C and K sounds in crisp click.
Oh, I see. Crisp click.
Right. Those specific sounds register in the human brain as solid, finished, and structurally secure.
Okay, wow. That completely tracks. It actually reminds me of the engineering science behind luxury car doors.
Oh, that is a perfect comparison.
Right, because you don't need to know a single thing about the mechanical latch inside the door panel, but when you close the door of a premium vehicle and you hear that heavy, muffled, solid thud,
You just feel it.
yes, your brain instantly translates that sound into safety. The crisp click of these wooden beads seems to be doing that exact same auditory work for the listener.
That car door thud is the perfect equivalent, seriously. Automotive engineers spend, millions of dollars and years of research perfecting that exact sound.
Just for a sound.
Just for the sound.
Yeah.
Because tactile and auditory feedback completely bypasses logic and creates an immediate emotional anchor. The jingle is doing the exact same thing with phrases like sturdy seam and firm strand.
It even goes so far as to call the product handcrafted magic that you just have to hold.
Which is such a striking phrase.
It is. I am honestly stuck on that specific phrase, handcrafted magic. Because magic usually implies something appearing out of thin air, like an effortless illusion.
Right, like poof, it's there.
Exactly. But here, they immediately follow the word magic by forcing you to look at the manual labor. The seams, the threads, the physical strands.
They really draw your eye to the constructions.
Yeah, so why draw so much attention to the literal knots? Doesn't exposing the labor kind of ruin the illusion of the magic?
Well, I'd argue it doesn't ruin the illusion at all. It actually redefines what we consider magical in the modern era.
How so?
Think about it. We live in a world of mass-produced, factory-molded plastics that just pop off an assembly line by the thousands.
Oh, for sure. Everything is automated.
Right. So in that context, the idea that human hands meticulously tied knots tight enough to withstand heavy daily use, that actually is the magic.
Wow, that's a really interesting way to look at it.
It bridges the gap between the unseen artisan and the consumer. The brand is making a really compelling argument that true magic isn't a spell. It's painstaking, deliberate physical labor that won't give or give way.
So they are essentially forcing the listener to mentally test drive the bag. Like, you hear the click, you feel the tension of the firm strand, you visualize the knot being pulled tight.
Exactly, you're experiencing it in your mind.
You've basically experienced the structural integrity before you've even seen a single photograph of the product.
And once that tactile reality is totally locked into your subconscious, the foundation is poured. The brand now have the structural support it needs to build a much larger, much heavier narrative right on top of it.
Which is exactly what happens next in the lyrics, but I have to say, the transition is wild.
It's quite a leap.
It is. We go from talking about literal threads and beads to suddenly hearing that this bag bears every weight that life can demand. It carries you when the journey is long and the heavy winds blow.
It gets very epic very fast.
It really does. It carries your world, and it stands unbowed to hold your dream. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because I have to push back a little here.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's a bag made of wooden beads. Calling it an unyielding divine that holds your dream feels wildly melodramatic, almost to the point of being kind of absurd. Are we giving this jingle too much credit for a simple fashion accessory?
I get why you'd say that, but it really only sounds melodramatic if we view the bag strictly as a utilitarian object.
Just a literal container.
Right, just a box to move your wallet from point A to point B. But consumer psychology tells us that people rarely buy lifestyle products just for their utility alone.
That's true. It's usually about status or feeling good.
Exactly. They buy them for how the object equips them emotionally to face the world. This intense, seemingly heroic language purposefully reframes the accessory as a piece of emotional armor.
Emotional armor. Okay, I need you to break that down. How does a wooden beaded bag function as armor for the user?
Well, think about the daily friction of just living modern life. You know, people are navigating high-stress jobs, really long commutes, personal uncertainties, just this constant barrage of information.
It's exhausting.
It is. So when the jingle talks about the heavy winds blowing, that is a direct metaphor for the daily friction we all face.
Oh, I see.
And when it claims the bag stands unbowed, it is transferring that physical resilience directly to the wearer. It becomes this sort of totem.
Like a physical anchor?
Yes. Having something incredibly sturdy on your shoulder acts as a physical, tactile reminder that you too can withstand the pressure. The bag isn't just holding physical items, it's holding your sense of control.
You know, that actually recontextualizes a really weird quirk I noticed in the source transcript.
Oh, which part?
Because it's auto-generated from the YouTube audio, there are some variations in the text. In one stanza, it captures the lyrics as saying the bag carries your world with a comforting glow.
Right.
But then later on, the software registers the phrase as a confident glow.
Yes, I noticed that too. And honestly, whether that is an intentional lyrical shift written by J.M. Canonigo or just a glitch of the speech-to-text software, it perfectly illustrates the two-way street of emotional armor.
What do you mean by a two-way street?
Well, comforting describes the internal effect, right? When you are buffeted by those metaphorical heavy winds we talked about, the reliable weight of the bag provides a sense of solace. It's a stabilizing force.
Oh, I love that. And taking that a step further, confident would be the external result of that internal feeling.
Exactly.
Once you feel comforted and secure on the inside, your physical posture literally changes.
Yeah.
You step out into the world and project confidence outward.
That is exactly the mechanism at play here. The internal solace fuels the external projection. That's why the heroic language, while seemingly grandiose for a purse, actually maps perfectly onto the psychological journey of the consumer.
They don't just want a bag, they want a steadfast partner to navigate the storm with them.
Precisely.
But wait, that creates a massive design problem.
How so?
Well, if a brand sells you ultimate, unyielding emotional armor that survives torrential storms, they are basically selling you a wearable bank vault.
A bank vault, right?
And nobody wants to lug a literal bank vault to a fancy dinner party or a coffee shop. How does the jingle prevent the product from feeling like heavy, brutalist luggage?
That is such a good point. You've just described the classic tension in basically all product design. Durability versus aesthetics.
Right. Usually you have to pick one or the other.
But the jingle solves this dilemma, not by asking the consumer to compromise, but by fundamentally fusing the two concepts completely together.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, amidst all the talk of heavy winds and unyielding strength, the lyrics carefully weave in phrases like simple and elegant and timeless charm.
Yeah, the juxtaposition is really jarring at first read. It promises to carry your world through every rain and rising sun while somehow maintaining a resilient stride.
Resilient stride is the brilliant synthesis of that tension. It frames style not as something fragile that needs to be protected from the harsh elements, but as an act of quiet endurance in itself.
So the elegance actually is the ability to survive.
Exactly.
Wow, it makes me think of the culture around luxury dive watches.
Oh, that's a great example.
You see someone wearing an incredibly sleek, high-end dive watch under the cuff of a tuxedo at a formal event, and it looks purely elegant on the surface.
Right, just a beautiful piece of jewelry.
But its actual defining feature, like the entire reason it commands respect and a massive price tag, is that it is engineered to survive 300 meters of freezing, crushing ocean pressure.
Yes.
The elegance of the watch is inextricably linked to its extreme ruggedness.
That is the perfect mechanical analogy for what this jingle is doing. The tuxedo context is the timeless charm, but the crazy engineering underneath the dial, that's the sturdy seam.
So they're giving you both.
The jingle is offering that exact same proposition to the listener. You really don't have to sacrifice your personal aesthetic just to survive the rain and the rising sun.
The lyrics actually refer to this specific balance as a quiet strength that's never done. What is the psychology behind the concept of quiet strength in fashion? Because typically the fashion industry is incredibly loud.
Oh, incredibly loud.
It's giant logos, bright neon colors, constantly screaming for your attention.
Right, and that points to a really fascinating psychological shift in consumer behavior, something often referred to as stealth wealth or quiet luxury.
Stealth wealth? I've heard of that.
Yeah, so loud fashion often projects a sort of subtle insecurity. It basically demands that the viewer acknowledge the wearer's status or wealth.
Like, look at how much I spent on this logo.
Exactly, but quiet strength, on the other hand, stems from profound psychological security. The jingle suggests the wearer of this bag is so secure in their own resilience that they simply don't need their accessories to shout on their behalf.
So true elegance, according to this text, is just supreme competence. It's the ability to get battered by the heavy winds without ever breaking character or losing your composure.
That's beautifully put. And demonstrating that competence requires zero shouting. The bag simply endures, quietly doing its job.
Just quietly doing the work.
Right. Which actually beautifully sets up the final piece of the puzzle here, which is how the actual audio structure of the jingle ensures the listener remembers this quiet competence.
Oh, yes. We absolutely cannot analyze a musical transcript without talking about the architecture of the audio experience itself. Because as you read through it, the structure is incredibly cyclical.
Very much so.
The verses repeat, the core motifs just loop back around constantly.
And what we are seeing here is form mimicking function. The creator, Jam Canonigo, didn't just write lyrics about endurance. The structure of the jingle itself is an endurance test.
An endurance test, really?
Yes. The repetition serves a very specific, deeply ingrained cognitive purpose.
Walk me through that, because usually we think of repetition in advertising as just a brute force tactic. You know, just annoying you enough to make sure you memorize a phone number or a brand name.
Right, like those terrible local car commercials. But this goes much deeper than rote memorization. Psychologically, human brains are hardwired to find predictable, rhythmic repetition soothing. Yeah, it's a phenomenon known as the mere exposure effect, and is combined with the concept of cognitive ease.
Okay, cognitive ease.
When a musical or lyrical pattern repeats, our brain expends less energy processing it each subsequent time. That ease of processing translates directly into a feeling of familiarity and, crucially, trust. By looping the verses, the jingle bypasses our critical, skeptical thinking and builds a subconscious emotional resonance.
So what does this all mean for the listener experiencing the ad? You have these literal wooden beads looping endlessly on a firm strand to construct the physical bag.
Right.
And then you have these verses looping endlessly in the jingle to construct the brand identity. It feels incredibly intentional.
Oh, it is entirely intentional. And look at how the brand name Tatag Lang is physically woven into those audio loops. The transcript catches all these fascinating phonetic variations like tag lang, and even just the hashtag lang.
I noticed that. It really highlights that this is fundamentally an oral tradition. It's meant to be heard and felt as a rhythm rather than just read as text on a page.
Exactly. Regardless of how the speech-to-text software spelled it in any given millisecond, the rhythmic anchor is completely immovable. The brand name basically becomes the steady heartbeat of the loop.
Do you think this looping structure intentionally mirrors the rising sun mentioned in the lyrics?
How do you mean?
Think about the daily repetitive routine of the listener. You wake up, the sun rises, you pick up your bag, you face the demands of the world, you come home, rinse and repeat.
That's a great observation.
The jingle literally concludes with the promise that the bag is forever the same.
And that right there is the ultimate brand promise. Daily life is inherently repetitive, but it is also full of chaotic variables and unexpected storms.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
By aligning the cyclical nature of the music with the cyclical nature of the rising sun, the jingle transforms the mundane repetition of the daily grind into a reassuring rhythm of resilience.
It makes it a positive thing.
Yes, the bag is positioned as the one unwavering constant you can totally rely on, day after day, year after year.
It is honestly a masterclass in layered messaging. I mean, we started this deep dive looking at what seemed like a really simple, catchy promotional jingle for Tatag Lang with beaded bags by J.M. Canonigo.
Just a little YouTube ad.
Right. But peeling back the layers revealed so much more underneath.
We uncovered a narrative that starts with the raw psychoacoustic trust of a crisp click, then scales up into a monumental totem of emotional armor.
And it perfectly balances that brutal durability with the quiet luxury of a resilient stride.
Exactly. And finally, it locks it all into the listener's brain through the cognitive ease of musical repetition.
It weaves physical craftsmanship, psychological support, and timeless style into a single, unyielding, firm strand.
Which really brings this entirely back to you, the listener.
It really does.
As you go about your day-to-day, take a deliberate look at the items you choose to carry with you into the world. Do they offer you that sense of quiet strength?
That's a good question to ask.
Do the objects on your shoulder reflect your own resilient stride? Or are they just fragile, surface-level aesthetics?
It really makes you wonder, you know? We spend so much time in our culture obsessing over what looks beautiful or trendy in just a fleeting, temporary moment. But is it possible that true beauty and elegance in our everyday objects are entirely dependent on their underlying capacity to endure?
That's the real takeaway here.
Perhaps what we ultimately find most charming isn't just how things look in a carefully curated photo, but their unwavering ability to survive the heavy winds alongside us. Definitely something to think about the next time you pick up your bag and step out the door. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.